Hello, my name is Susan Langen, and I am the Internship and Practicum Coordinator for Upper Iowa's School Counseling and Mental Health Counseling programs. This presentation is just a short PowerPoint sharing some information about due dates and some of the paperwork that will be due at midterm and at final of the semester. The first slide is going to include the important dates of the semester. First of all, Monday, August 26th is when the registered practicum and internship students may begin at their field sites. Friday, October 18th is going to be when midterm paperwork is due, and that will be weeks 1 through 8. Friday, December 6th is when final paperwork is going to be due, and that will be weeks 9 through 14. All the paperwork will be uploaded into your Microsoft Teams SharePoint folder. You will each have a designated folder with your name on it, and if it is for Practicum or for Internship 1 or Internship 2. And then December 12th is actually the last day that students may be at their Practicum and Internship sites. So your midterm paperwork is going to include the following items. Your cover sheet and weekly logs. Your cover sheet we are going to go through in detail in the next couple slides. Your weekly logs, you can either put a copy of weeks 1 through 8, or what I've had you do in the past is just make a copy of week 8 and upload that with your paperwork. You will need to have your site supervisor evaluation of the counseling student. This is a form that you will give your site supervisor a couple weeks before the midterm is due, and then they will fill it out and discuss it with you, and then you'll upload that after you sign it. Your midterm practicum and internship hours attestation form is just documentation of the hours that you spent weeks 1 through 8 with your supervisor's signature on it. And then you will also need to turn in one videotape for the midterm. And that will have its own separate folder for the videotape. The other paperwork will go into midterm paperwork. Your final paperwork will include the things from the midterm and some other things. So the first item is the cover sheet and weekly logs from weeks 9 through 16. And you can also do all of the weeks or just the final week. You will have another site supervisor evaluation of you, the counseling student, and this again will be something that you give the site supervisor and have a discussion about, and then you will sign it and upload it. You will have a final practicum and internship hours attestation form with the final hours from your whole semester. You will also have a university group supervisor evaluation of the counseling student, and that is something that the university group supervisor usually uploads into your folder or gives you, and then you can upload that. You will also need to complete an evaluation of your university group supervisor and your online supervisor. This gives us some really good information. You will need to include another videotape for the second part of your practicum or internship. You will also need to include an evaluation of your practicum and internship site, and then the final assignment for your practicum or internship is a reflection paper, which is 2 to 3 pages double-spaced with APA formatting. And you can upload that into your class portal, or you can upload that with your final paperwork. Just a review of the hours for practicum. You need 40 direct hours and 60 indirect hours for a total of 100 hours. Internship 1 is 120 hours for direct, 180 indirect for a total of 300. Internship 2 is the same as internship 1. And for school counselors, your internship will be 120 and then 180 for 300 hours. So you need to keep track of these hours very much in your log that we're going to also go over in the next couple slides. But remember, your direct hours are direct contact with students or clients, and your indirect hours are going to be meetings or collaboration or time, going through information with your supervisor, and that will be indirect hours. So your practicum cover sheet is going to be the same for your midterm and your final paperwork, so that I can keep track of what you did at the midterm and then what you will do at the final. Just make sure you fill out the whole form at the very end for the final paperwork. So it's very simple. You put your name, the academic year and semester, you put your supervisor and where you're at. You check that it's your practicum. For midterm, you put how many hours you had direct contact with clients or students. Then you put down how many hours you had indirect hours, which also includes your supervision hours with your university supervisor and your site supervisor. And then you put your total hours, direct and total indirect, for the midterm. Then you fill out this sheet, you make a copy of this sheet, and then you fill out for the final log your direct hours, indirect hours for the weeks 9 through 14, and you put all the same information. And then at the very bottom, you add up grand totals for midterm and final. So you just make sure that you add it correctly for the midterm, weeks 1 through 8, final 9 through 14, and then your grand totals, which will include hopefully the numbers that we talked about in an earlier slide. The internship cover sheet is very similar to this. Again, you'll fill out the same form for midterm and final paperwork. Make sure you fill out the whole form. A lot of students forget to fill out the very end. And we're going to talk about banked hours because sometimes for internship 1 and 2 for mental health, you can have banked hours. So you need to make sure and document those correctly. So for the internship log cover sheet, you're again fill out your name, the fall semester of 2024, your supervisor and your field site. You're going to mark either if it's internship 1 or internship 2. Internship 1, you don't have to worry about this requested banked hours for second internship until you turn into your final paperwork. Midterm, you're going to do the same as the school counselors, same as the practicum, where you're going to put direct hours, indirect hours, and your total hours. Your final log will be your weeks 9 through 14, and then your grand totals will be your midterm plus your final. So I'll be able to look at that last part here and write down, see if you have enough hours to meet the requirements. And then the very bottom, total hours from grand totals, midterm and final, including banked hours. So if you have banked hours after your first internship, you are going to want to put those at the end of your first internship, you're going to put requested banked hours for a second internship in that box up at the top. And then for internship 2, you're going to keep that and fill that out for your requested banked hours. And then you're going to include it at the very end for how many banked hours that you have at the very end. So you only add the banked hours at the top box, and at the bottom when you have total hours from grand totals, midterm and final, including banked hours. So you don't include your banked hours in the middle part where you put the midterm and the final, where you're taking those hours directly from your Excel spreadsheet. So make sure that you just follow the directions and add the banked hours at the top and the bottom. So your banked hours, again, must be approved by your supervisor. You need to make sure that you are following the rules, and so the general rule is that students may not bank more than half of the hours needed to fulfill requirements, but sometimes you can get approval from your university supervisor if you need to have more of those hours. But make sure, again, the biggest thing is you need to get approval for those hours at the end of your internship 1, and we know how many hours you're going to be using for internship 2. And just note again that students are not able to bank hours in practicum. So direct and indirect hours, you are going to keep track of these on an Excel spreadsheet log, and these are very, very slick, and they work really well. They will add up your totals and your hours, but you need to keep track. First of all, you need to write the week number on the top of each week, and so a lot of students forget to do this, and then when I look at it, I can't tell for sure which week is the final ones that you're turning in. So make sure again that you put the number on the top for the week number, then you are going to keep track and log every week under each day what you did for direct services, which is direct contact with students or clients, or indirect services, and you're going to keep track of those in 15-minute increments at the end of each day. And I would really recommend that you do it at the end of each day, because otherwise you're going to forget. And if you do it just weekly, or if you wait for more than weekly, because you're going to forget what you've done with your time. So get that done. Get in the habit of doing that every day, and then each week it'll add the totals. Each time you put in numbers, the Excel spreadsheet will add the totals, and so it works really slick. You still need to double check it to make sure it's all accurate. And there was a glitch with the Excel spreadsheet that I think we got kind of worked out, but make sure again that it's working. And then you log your direct and indirect hours in 15-minute increments, but you use the 0.25, 0.50 for a half an hour, 0.75 for 45 minutes, and 1 hour is 1.0. So make sure again that you're logging your hours correctly. This is an example of the weekly log, which has at the top your supervision, has indirect contact, and gives examples of all those things. And then at the bottom it has direct contact, which what you will be doing with direct contact with parents or with students or clients. And then it'll all add together, and you will need to make sure and keep track of that. So the other forms, the attestation form is something that you will fill out and have your supervisor sign. It just documents your midterm hours and then your final total hours. So what I need from you right now is supervisor information, and I'm going to email you a form that you will fill out and give me just your supervisor's name, their email, their phone number, the site, the name of the site you're at, and where the location. And I would like this filled out by August 30th if possible. It's actually a very simple form to fill out. So I can then email your supervisors with some of the information about Practicum and Internship, and let them know that I am the person. If they have any questions or if they have any issues or anything, they can get in touch with me. So that's one of the things that I do. I also will send you email reminders before the midterm and the final paperwork, and give you the directions for how to upload and what to upload. I will also be checking your midterm paperwork and your final paperwork, and I will also be checking with your supervisors at the end of the semester. So if you have questions, these are some of the questions that get asked a lot. Where do you find the forms? The forms are going to be in your class portals or your class shelves. Your supervisors have added those forms to that area, and a lot of times I will also put those forms in the email reminder that I send to you at the midterm and at the final. Please use the correct forms. Sometimes students need the last week of the semester to fulfill the hours, because the paperwork is actually due a week before the semester is over. And if that happens, you just need to communicate with me and let me know what's going on. If you need an extension, or if you need a couple days to get your paperwork filled in, just let me know, because I will be checking that very quickly after it's due, and letting you know if you have everything turned in correctly or if you need to turn in some other things. And then the banked hours is another really big question that a lot of times students will have. So make sure that you follow the directions on the sheet and get that done. If you have other questions that you're thinking about, because I will share this with your supervisors, click on this Padlet for questions about Practicum and Internship, and all you do is click on this yellow circle down here and just write your questions. And I'm sure if you have the question, there's other people that have that question as well. So I just want to wish you luck for this semester. Practicum, it's very exciting because you're starting to learn all kinds of, or put your learning to practical use with working with clients and with students. And for internship, you're just continuing to grow and use your skills. So please let me know if there's anything I can do to help any of you, and I wish you luck, and I will be in touch. Thank you.